Warner Brothers Discovery recently approved a new bid from Netflix, and it's all cash. It previously was offering cash in Netflix common stock. The bid is for studios and the HBO Max streaming service. The value of the Netflix offer remains at $72 billion. The companies hope to vote on the deal by April, though Paramount continues to push its own all-cash offer. If the Netflix deal goes through, a separate business will exist called Discovery Global and will house CNN, TNT, and the Food Network. And we are asking how this merger would impact the film industry. People have expressed concerns over this deal, saying it could result in job losses and less diversity in content. Joining me now is Noor Ahmed, president of Strikeback Studios and an alum of the Motion Pictures program at the Tom Hanks Center for Motion Pictures at Wright State University. Thanks so much for joining us this afternoon. Now, if this merger happens, how could it impact the film industry?
You know, it can affect us in a lot of ways. And I think the big one we're all worried about is there's one less studio out there, one less big buyer. And in the last few years, between Disney acquiring 20th Century Studios, Skydance just recently acquiring Paramount, you know, there's just less and less people and companies and big ones that we can go to. And also, as you said, it's going to be around to layoffs over at Warner Brothers. There's a lot of sort of people that won't be needed in the Netflix sort of model. We saw this when Skydance acquired Paramount. There was a large amount of layoffs at the end of last year. So it's something that we're all very worried about. I know the unions in town who are beginning their new round of negotiations have all come out very opposed to this. So it could really stir things up when we need in our industry right now a lot of stability, and this will cause a lot of uncertainty, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, the biggest uncertainty would be those jobs, of course, but who else would be impacted by a merger of this size?
You know, you talked about it a little bit that even a lot of the linear cable channels that are currently owned by Warner Brothers, you know, it doesn't seem that is something that Netflix is probably that concerned with. So not having even a stable organization like a big Warner to support those cable channels, keep them going, it will just be one step closer to all of those probably fading away, unfortunately. And whether it's a CNN, which we greatly need right now, I think we need good news outlets because, as I kind of said in the Paramount merger or acquisition, really, you know, CBS News is completely run by a totally different group of people and has changed that dramatically as well. It will have ripple effects, I think, even to the sense of will other big tech companies want to acquire these traditional studios? I mean, Amazon years ago acquiring MGM happened, which didn't have a huge negative effect. This is just so different than anything that we've seen. And look, there are antitrust laws that are here to protect things like this. Way too many people out there that kind of just don't want this and don't need this right now. It's a turbulent time of our industry. I was just at a lunch talking with someone about that. That it's one thing after another. The pandemic, the last round of negotiations we had with the unions. It's all coming to a head.
Well, you know, Noor, people recently have criticized Hollywood for too many comic book character movies. What would the movie industry look like in the future if this happens?
You're going to see a lot of, and I like Netflix, but they're making different type of film. And I think artistically, you'll see stuff that is toned down, very middle of the road content. It's things that creatively I think will not be supporting the arts and film and its aesthetic potential. I think you'll see a lot more series content, which is great. But theatrical content you will not be seeing. Even I think recently Netflix said they'll do a 45-day theatrical window, which is great. But, you know, I'd like to see that a lot longer, you know, 60, 90 days at least.
And well, is there a possibility that this deal would fall through, and what would cause this merge to fail?
There are a lot of things. The unions in town, Screen Actors Guild, Directors Guild, Writers Guild, IATSE, are all opposed to this. There are antitrust laws that are going to come into play here. Even the president could have something to say. There was an article this week saying how he bought a large amount of bonds with both Netflix and Warner Brothers. I personally think it's a long way to go. Paramount's threatening a lawsuit, saying that they were misrepresented in their offer to shareholders. So this is far from done. I think this will, if it does go through, this is a year or two away.
Wow. All right. Well, Noor Ahmed, president of Strikeback Studios and an alum of the Motion Pictures program at the Tom Hanks Center for Motion Pictures, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
For sure, anytime. Glad to talk.
Thank you.